Hello and welcome. I am your host of What Are You Reading? What Are You Writing? Author Karen E. Osborne. I have five novels out. The latest is Justice for Emerson. I am so glad that you're here. This is a space for readers and writers to come together and talk about books. I am so delighted to introduce you to a fellow New Yorker. You know, we're New Yorker people. Now she's Long Island and I was the Bronx and Westchester, but we're New York nevertheless. I
Mhm.
want you to meet Linda Maria Frank. Hey Linda,
Hi there, Karen. How are you?
I am great and I'm so glad that you could join us today. And I'm so glad all of you could join us today. So let me tell you just a little
Mhm.
bit about Linda. She is the author of the Annie Tillery mysteries and the Buccaneers of St. Frederick Island mysteries. And she previously taught biology, chemistry, and forensic science, which helped her, inspired her to many of her mysteries. That her scientific background gave her that. She also produces a local TV show in East Hampton called The Writer's Dream. Her latest mystery, which she's going to tell us all about, is the third in the Buccaneers series, The Monster Bones of St. Frederick Island. Could you show us the lovely cover?
I certainly can.
Look at that. It's a good looking cover.
I have a wonderful illustrator. She really
Mm.
captures kids, which is good for me.
Yes, 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 yes. So tell us the premise of the series and then and then a bit about this current episode, but give us a little background on the series.
Okay, this came about during COVID. Okay, I was very safe during COVID. I didn't work, I didn't have kids, so I could just stay home. And so I got to thinking, I got to working on a project that I'm doing called 6215. 6215 is the house number of the house I grew up in. And we had a flower farm in Queens. I could see the Empire State Building from my house, but we had a flower farm. So I said, this is really odd. This is a good thing to write about. So I was trying to put down all my memories. And I was thinking back to my Catholic school days in elementary school. And it just struck me, wouldn't it be fun to write a story that takes place in 1947 when I don't have to deal with computers and cell phones and all the rest of it, and kind of create a bunch of kids who deal with things like, because they live on a remote island, which is completely fictitious. And that was the fun part of this book is everything was fictitious. And I said to myself, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a group of eighth graders who go to a Catholic school that was originally, it was in a building that was originally the castle of John Buckley the pirate. And so, I just kind of melded every silly idea I ever had as a kid into these books. And I had more fun writing this first book. And then, of course, the first book, I do myself in because the last chapter, I always say something that leads to the next book, even if I don't want to write it. So then I wrote the second book, and the second book it picked up the same characters. The third book, however, is a departure because what happened is a friend of mine, a fellow author by the name of Joanne Vergona Kropp, she and I decided to write the book together because she also writes, she has a series called The Troublesome Trio. And these are kids who solve mysteries on Fire Island, which is a barrier island off of Long Island, very famous place. And so we decided to write this together. And the end of the second Buccaneers book is the kids find a buried skeleton on the beach. And the last line of the book is, "But what is it?" So of course you had to do the third one. But the
Of
problem
course.
is the troublesome trio are in the present. And my eighth graders were in 1947. So how can we get them together? So the way we got them together is the troublesome trio. They go on a vacation, and they end up in St. Frederick Island because of these famous caves, and they meet the grandchildren of the original Buccaneers, and they set out
Oh,
to solve the problem of this buried skeleton. So that's how we put them together. And that
wow.
is, yeah. I mean,
So the present day kids meet so they're present day also, but they're
yes,
the grandchildren
yeah,
from
of the
back in
original
the
Buccaneers, yeah. And so like the newspaper that showed up in the original book was called the Foghorn, and it was owned by Lily Lily's mother, Becca Dawes. Lily was the leader of the Buccaneers, and her mother ran the newspaper. And so when the present day kids come to the island, of course, in order to solve the mystery, they have to go to the Foghorn. And it's just a lot of fun. These books are
sounds like a lot of
fun.
fun.
Yeah. And that's what I aim for. The Annie Tillery mysteries are they could be adult mysteries, but I prefer to write for young readers, I guess because I spent my life with young kids. Because there's a lot of serious forensic stuff and whatnot in it. But these books were just fun. I try to make them jokey. The forensics are not heavy, but they're there. So this was, as I said, it's fun. You get a laugh, you get a giggle out of these books. And so that's the story. They have to solve the problem of this skeleton. What the heck is it?
What
So
is it? What is that
yeah,
that's sitting
yeah.
there?
And
It
not only
sounds so
that,
good.
but they end up going into the caves, and there is a Native American community which they figure prominently in all three books. And the Native Americans condescend to take them into this secret cave where there are cave drawings, petroglyphs, just like in the caves of France. And this is where the time travel incident occurs. So there's a lot of stuff in this book.
Yes, yes. It sounds so fun and interesting. My grandchildren are too old, my two oldest are too old for it, and my little one is too young for it. But I'm going to keep it in mind because he's growing he's 6. So it would be better if he was older, right?
Yeah, if he was about 8, because on Amazon they say 7 to 12. It depends on how good a reader he is,
Yeah.
and what his interests are. Um, I
Well,
mean,
it sounds very
I'm sorry.
fun.
I have,
So
go
go
ahead.
ahead, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, you go.
So you said that you wrote with a co-author. You guys work together. What's the experience like? What is it?
Well,
Just give us a sense of your process.
neither she nor I have a big ego. Okay, so we are able to, we're good friends, and we are able to listen to each other. And so she wrote some chapters, and I read them and decided if I needed to interject anything into them, because she wrote the chapters that were primarily the troublesome trio. And then I
Mhm.
wrote other chapters, and then she read them, and then she put her characters into my chapter. So it just flowed. It was very easy. I would imagine if you have two people and one of them has a huge ego, it's a problem. But we didn't have
Yes.
that problem, and we just had fun doing it.
Yeah.
You have to choose your co-author carefully.
Yes. Yes. I imagine that. One of the co-authors that I interviewed, their show just came on about 2 weeks ago, but they're married. They've been married for a long time. So I said that could both be good or bad, you know? So how long did it take you both to write
To
the
get the
book?
whole thing together, and with the illustrator as well, because there are a lot of illustrations in this book, and she's wonderful. I would say a year. The Annie Tilleries take me 2 years, but this one, I think it was because we worked together, was about a year. Yeah, not too bad.
Right? So clearly you had to do some research for
Mm.
this. And I'm always amazed when I'm researching, even when I make up a city, still have to research, and I do make up cities like you do. But it's so much fun. But did you find anything like that was surprising or particularly funny or interesting as you dug?
Well, I have to say that when I write things from the past, books that I've read, lessons that I've taught, I mean, there was a lot of research that went into teaching biology, chemistry, and forensic science. And I could draw
Hmm.
from that. But also, I read Wilkie Collins' The Moonstone when I was like 11 or 12 years old. So I've been reading mystery stories all my life. And I would say that this book in particular, though, was inspired by Tony Hillerman, who wrote the Officer Jim Chi books, because
Yep.
he gave me a really good insight into the Native American community. And I visited that part of the country, which I thought was so fascinating. And what we did was we concentrated on the Native American cultures. So that was an inspiration for that. I wanted to put that in the book. And I travel a lot, and I'm just interested in everything. So these things kind of gel when you have an idea, then the things that you learn. So to me, everything's interesting.
Yes,
I mean, I like to
indeed.
sit in a park and watch the people go by. I find the people, I think about what are they doing and why are they there and what are their lives like. And so I think to be interesting, you have to be interested. So that's basically, I all along my life I have found things interesting, funny. Um, but in
Yeah.
particular, I think the funny thing for me was just going back in my 6215 project and thinking about the things that happened to me as a kid, and they were funny. So that's basically my process.
Yes, yes, very cool. So, I saw in your bio that Nancy Drew was also an inspiration. So, Tony Hillerman, Nancy Drew. Was there any other writer that had an impact on your writing style or some other
Yeah,
way?
certainly. Nancy Drew, I owe her a great deal of gratitude simply because she made me a lifetime reader. Because I didn't like to read as a kid, and then I discovered my first Nancy Drew, and then I would save my allowance and go into New York City to one of the big bookstores, and I would double days, and I would buy my next Nancy Drew, which were only $1 in those days. Like, could you believe that? Anyway, yes, I read a lot. Um, uh, the Frozen River was the last one that I read, and what I liked about that was it was about a woman who lived during the time of the American Revolution, but she was a midwife and she did things, and a healer, and she did things that were not accepted by women in those days, but she had a very strong character and did them anyway. And then she had a really wonderful relationship with her husband and her kids, and it was heartwarming. It was a good story. I love World War II stories. I'm
Mm.
one of my NA Tilleries is The Mystery of the Lost Avenger. The Avenger was a plane that was manufactured by Grumman here on Long Island during World War II, and I wrote a story about it. The mystery revolves around it. So I love World War II stories. The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna,
Oh,
The
yes.
Lost Girls of Paris, The Alice Network, all of those books. Um, and the Outlander series. I am an Outlander freak. I love Outlander. Oh
Me too.
God, I love those books. And I don't love them just for the sex. I love them because of her incredible research into the American Revolution. Things I never knew about the American Revolution come up in this book, and I checked them out, and I said, "My gosh, she got that right." Okay, so and then because this is so much work, being an independent author, independently published is so much work that when I read, I like to amuse myself. So I'll read David Baldacci, Steve Berry. These are all, and these people do good research. Even
Hmm.
though they're thrillers and adventure and whatnot, they're and a little bit of fiction. I love Steve Berry's books because he takes some item of history and he makes two sides out of it, and they conflict with one another, and it's really interesting books. So
Yeah.
I like
You
basically I like a book that I can learn from. excites me, and
Mm,
I can learn from it. So
yeah. We,
that's what I
we
love.
we writers read to learn, to improve
Yes,
our craft, as well as to learn
yes,
things in history and to just enjoy to reading. But we're always reading to improve our craft, which is a wonderful thing.
yeah.
It's really good. So, Linda, now that you've got everybody interested, all the parents of children who would enjoy this book, all the grandparents whose grandchildren will enjoy these books. Tell us. So, first of all, folks, you know that you can find these books anywhere you buy books. If your Barnes and Noble, Amazon, your local independent bookstore, and of course your library where you can borrow them. And if you don't see them on the shelf, ask.
That's right.
Ask, say that you
That's
want
right.
them.
They must
But
provide.
now, if people want to be in touch with you, how can people find you?
Oh, this is very easy. It's my website is lindamariafrank.com. And you can actually see all of the books. You can see my blog. You can see my newsletters. You can see my TV shows. Uh, so it's all there. And there's also a link there. If you want my newsletter, you can just fill out the information there. I'm on YouTube, Linda Maria Frank. You can see there's must be like 200 interviews by now. I've been doing this for 14 years. And my website, I'm sorry, my Facebook page again is you either look for Linda Maria Frank or Annie Tillery. Either one of those will bring you to one of my Facebook pages. And if you message me on Facebook, I answer it. So that's how you can find me.
Excellent. So I hope all of you have enjoyed meeting Linda and that you will follow her, go to her website, sign up for her newsletter, go to her YouTube channel, sign up for her YouTube channel, and that when you write her, you'll tell her that you met her on what are you reading, what are you writing. Thanks everybody for being with us, and we'll see you next week. Take care.